Hi everyone, this is Holly with Reiki Light Blessings. I have been wanting to talk for a while. This summer has been a whirlwind for our family. Lots of big things have happened, good and not so good. That is how our life has been this past summer. I do want to say that today's talk has been on my heart for a little while. Today's talk is about transition, and what a perfect time of year. It's almost fall, so the time for change. When I think of transition, I think of change. When I think of big transitions, for me, that's things in my life that occur where my life will never look the same. So big transition would be a new job, a move to a different home, a marriage, having children move out as well. And so that has been a big influence more recently in our family, is Brady leaving for college. That's a big transition. The smaller transitions would be, maybe changing a vehicle and just getting used to the new vehicle. It's the kids starting back to school again, where you're moving from season, summer, into school. School is something that you've experienced before, but however, you're still coming back into transitioning into change, into a new school year. So those are the kinds of differences that I think of with small transitions and big transitions. What I want to say is, with all transition, with all times of change, I remind myself to have grace. Have grace for myself. Have grace for the people in my life, whether it's coworkers, whether it's friends, whether it's the immediate family members. Just know that moments of transition influence a lot of people, and it's not just yourself. So have grace, lots and lots of grace. What I've noticed in myself is that I do resist change. I love stability. I love my comfort zone, and I love routine. Like, I could just get on this loop of routine, and sometimes that routine may not be, in my highest interest. It may not be the best thing for me, so I have to always check myself on that as well. So let's talk about, what do we do when we're through moments of transition? So we give ourselves grace, meaning, gosh, it's okay to feel off sometimes. It's okay that you didn't get your full workout in every single day, that it looked a little differently, where you only were able to get partial. Like, I allow myself some grace. And I also allow my daughter to, cry when she's feeling upset, cry when she's missing Brady, and just to know that you need to be there. Allow yourself moments to cry, just to release the pain that you're needing to release. Then I remind myself to go back to basics. Back to basics would be those things that always feel good to me. And just know that these things can change in your life. What felt good may not anymore. So you need to check in on today. What feels good to me? What helps me? So one thing that really helps me going back to basics is exercise. So exercise for me is just a total release. So I release the stress. I release physically, I release emotionally, mentally. I just feel more balanced, I feel healthier, I feel more like me. So when I'm coming back to basics, I remind myself, okay, today my workout is going to be able to look like this, and this is what I want to do. Another thing that helps me back to basics is meditating. And boy, do I feel it when I have not meditated for a while. I just don't feel the same. I don't have the same amount of patience that I normally would. And I feel like me again when I've meditated. So I do now, I know that when I'm going through big transition, small transition, any transition, that I need to get back to basics, and I need to put a priority on to meditating. I also then allow that grace for the days that, oh, I have an orthodontist appointment to take my daughter at early in the morning, and then when I come back, Minnie may be needing a walk. Then I allow the grace of knowing that maybe I wasn't able to meditate today, but I will meditate tomorrow. Or I like to meditate in the morning. It may have to be that I'm meditating at night. So I allow the fluid motion of these things as well. But I do want to place importance on trying to getting back to basics and just reminding myself, this feels good to me. This is me. Another moment of transition could be, you've had a health change. And so I do want to discuss this very, very briefly because it's such a controversial topic. But we did get COVID after returning from Boston and Vermont. Brady did not have it, which we were very thankful for. But Jason and I did get COVID about 5 days after we got back from moving Brady to Vermont. It's very interesting to me because that was such a big transition, and knowing that, it impacted us deeply, very, very deeply. And we know that our family will never look the same, but it's also a good thing, right? So we have our own pain on this, but we also know that this is the joy of life, being 18, being able to move out and grow and live your life as an adult, and we set our children free. The transition of moving Austin to college has been 2 years now, and so we are more used to that. I think it did help that Austin was, only an hour and a half away. He can come home. He generally comes home once a month to every other month, so we do get to see him. We also have that piece of communication where we can talk on the phone. Now, the way that Brady's schedule is set up and the structure of his school is we don't have that communication piece. They're only allowed 10 minutes every Sunday of phone call time. We can email, so we're able to do that, but it's made that transition a little more difficult. So just really accepting those little pieces of that's how it is, and accepting that sometimes I really miss him, and sometimes I don't like those pieces, and it's okay. It's okay. But also to come back to the point of what a beautiful opportunity for our grown children. So let's come back to COVID. So we did have the COVID piece, so really, and then Austin came home 2 days after we got back, and he was not exposed either, so thankfully that didn't happen. But not really being able to transition fully, knowing that your body is sick. That's another piece. But I had to work at coming into acceptance for that. I just want to tell you all that I am thinking of everyone out there with this pandemic, whether you're vaccinated or you're not vaccinated. I just want to say that I am thinking of you. And with COVID, I just want you to know that first and foremost, trust your inner voice. What feels best for me? There's so much information out there that it can be overwhelming, and trust your inner voice above all else. The one piece that I will say that I'm going to put in here, anyone who does get COVID, look into Regen antibody infusion. So right now it is on emergency approval, but from some of the figures that I'm seeing out there, it has a pretty high effectiveness on keeping COVID from going into severe cases. But it is only authorized for emergency use with the vulnerable population. So over 65, obesity, underlying health conditions, those kinds of things, those infusions are readily available. They are around here. So I was able to find some in Colorado, but I did not fit into that population. So that was a little frustrating, knowing that it is out there, but just only available to certain people. So my hope is that the antibody infusion will be made more readily available for all. So I do hope that as well. there were things that did help me through COVID. I was very resistant at first, and then this beautiful moment of lying in bed and knowing that I now had antibodies. I had natural antibodies. That was a gift that I was given throughout this process, and just wanted to send love to my body through it. And it boosting things that, the normal vitamin C and zinc, and I did echinacea, teas, those kinds of things. I did definitely made sure that I had lots of fluids. But I will say also on this, guys, Jason and I tended fairly similar through this, and I've heard that this, I don't, if it's the Delta strain, but it's definitely a mutation. Okay, at this point, we're on mutation, so we had a mutated strain of it. It was very intense. I would say just listen to your body throughout the process, because it starts off like a cold flu for us, that day 5, day 6, it's worse. It was very severe. And then just these tummy issues that continued for a week past that. So we had tummy issues on day 12 even, then it lessened, and now we're back to feeling pretty good again. Yay! Oh, so that was good to get through that transition of having COVID. Just trust your inner voice on all of it, please. And don't throw judgment out on what people are choosing, okay? I just want to say that. Just have lots of open hearts with it. I also want to talk about trauma, and I'm going to say very, very briefly that I will be discussing trauma, but not in this talk. So we did, as you know, many of you might know that our oldest son had a climbing accident and we experienced trauma. He experienced trauma. So I do want to bring up this piece at a later time. There's a book that I want to read, and then also talk with some people who have a lot of experience with trauma, and want to do that piece too. And then I'll give a little bit of a talk on trauma at a later time. I want to tell you, have grace. Get back to basics during this time of change, fall. Time of change. Let go of those things that don't serve you. Fill up with the things that do. And know that it's okay that we feel off at times. It is okay. Just return to basics, to those things that make you feel like you. Okay? I love you all. Happy new school year for all the people that are influenced on kids returning to school. And anyone going through moments of transition, I am thinking of you, sending you all love. Bye.